Hello Brew Crew and welcome back to The Sixer, our series of shortlist videos. By the time you all are watching this, we will have just gotten back from our 5-day cruise on the Disney Dream. It's something we've been looking forward to for several years, and we've been so excited to finally go. One question that gets brought up a lot when I mention travel is whether or not I'll be packing any games, and usually the answer is yes. There's a lot to consider though if you're going to bring games with you when you're traveling, like what are your modes of travel, available space, available time. Um, Typically, I try to keep my travel games to ones with relatively small box size and small footprints on the table as well. That doesn't mean just restricting myself to little card games though, although those usually tend to be good travel options. So this list of games are games that would travel well, but I did try to include a few that would provide a more robust gaming experience. So here we go with my number 6. Number 6 is The Red Cathedral. If this was based on how much I like the game, it would probably be higher than number 6. It does have a slightly larger footprint than most of the other games I'd travel with, but it also provides a full gaming experience in a fairly small box. This would be an excellent choice if you know that you'll have the downtime for a meatier game, and it also has a fantastic solo mode, so it's a good choice if you are traveling alone as well. In Red Cathedral, you're using a dice-centered resource generation mechanism to collect materials needed to build different sections of the cathedral, and scoring points for building and decorating it the most. It's a game that is just fantastic, and the box is small enough to fit in a carry-on or a backpack, so that's my number 6, Red Cathedral. My number 5 game is a very good 2-player game, and that's Radlands. Radlands is a 2-player dueling card game with a post-apocalyptic theme. Your deck of cards represent your camps, your different allies, and your raiders, and you're attempting to defend 3 of your camps from attack while trying to destroy your opponent's 3 camps. It's fairly quick playing, but with plenty of strategy and tactics. This is another game that could have been higher, but I put it at number 5 just because it is a 2-player only game. Still, this is a great game with amazing artwork, and all in a small enough package to easily take with you anywhere. So that's my number 5, Radlands. My number 4 game is a game that I didn't discover until pretty recently, although it's one that has been out for quite a while, and that's Harbor. Harbor is from one of the masters of the big game in a small box, Scott Almes, who has made quite a few games that would fit well on this list, including the entire Tiny Epic line. The reason I chose Harbor, though, is because it mixes worker placement with a shifting market mechanism. Games with a dynamic goods market tend to do really well for me, and they add quite a bit of tension as I try to offload my goods at exactly the right time to get the best value. If you miss your window, another player may tank the price of your resources, putting that building you wanted to purchase too far out of reach. And because each building scores you points and gets you closer to the end of the game, each turn feels very important. The game also comes with a stack of player characters, each with special abilities, and adds a ton of variability. So that's my number 4, Harbor. Number 3 on my list of travel games is Startups. Oink Games also makes a lot of games that would travel well, and I considered putting Scout on the list, but decided to shine some light on what seems to be a little bit lesser known game from Oink. Startups is a pretty simple card game in which you are trying to collect the most of different company cards in order to score points. You'll collect the cards by either drawing from a deck or collecting the cards that other players have discarded from the market. If you have the most of a certain company's card in front of you, though, you'll have to take the anti-monopoly chip, which means that you can no longer take that company's card from the market. On the plus side, though, most players have to pay for each card in the market when they decide to draw from the deck. If you hold that company's anti-monopoly chip, you do not pay for that company's cards in the market when you draw. So there are pros and cons, and it means that timing is super important in this hand management game. So that's my number 3, startups. Number 2 is a classic that has been around since 1997, and that's For Sale. For Sale is a 2-phase auction game. In the first round, you'll be open bidding to gain real estate cards, each with a unique number from 1 to 30. Once all of the real estate cards have been auctioned off, then the second phase begins, and players will blind bid using their houses to gain money cards. The highest value house takes the highest value card, and the next highest takes the next highest money card, and so on. At the end of the second phase, whoever has the most money between leftover money from the initial bidding and the money cards from the blind bid is the winner. This is a really simple game to teach new players, especially since you can teach each phase individually. So this makes it a great game to bring to situations where you might be playing with new gamers or even people who don't play games much at all. On top of that, the game is just fun, plain and simple. There's a reason it's been around as long as it has. So that's my number 2 travel game, For Sale. And finally, my number 1 travel game is Castles of Burgundy, the dice game. The Castles of Burgundy is one of my favorite games of all time, and this is essentially a roll and write version of the Steffenfeld classic. Now, I've never really gotten on board with the whole roll and write craze. I own a few, and I like them, but it's rare that I'm too excited about a roll and write, especially if it's a roll and write version of another game. This one managed to break through that wall, though. It managed to capture the feel of the full game, but with a much smaller footprint. There is a Castles of Burgundy, the card game as well, but while that one does come in a small box, there are 2 reasons that I didn't put it on the list. Number 1, and most important, I haven't played it. But the number 2 reason is because, as I understand it, it takes up a lot of table space to play. The dice game, however, takes a very small amount of space and packs up easily. This is one of those games that I mentioned at the top of the video will give you a rich gaming experience with a relatively small package. We have absolutely traveled with this game, and we've played it outdoors, at restaurants, all kinds of places. So that's why Castles of Burgundy, the dice game, is my number 1 travel game. Well, there you go. My list of the best travel games, in my opinion. Thanks so much for watching, everyone, and in the comments below, let me know what games you take when you travel. And until next time, let's get another round for the table. Hey everybody, don't forget to like and comment on this video. If you found value in this video at all, it would mean a lot to us if you consider subscribing to the channel as well. Don't forget to click the notification button so you'll know when we put out a new video. Cheers!